Greetings, fellow nerds and geeks. Why don't you pull yourself up a chair, grab yourself a beverage, and prepare to enjoy a geek-tastic conversation. Welcome to the Geek Easy.
Welcome back to the Geek Easy podcast. This is episode number 66 for May 22nd, 2019. My name is Pixel Dan Erdley, and I'm joined once again by Jonathan Leonard.
Hey, Internet.
And Jaron McCaffrey.
What up, what up?
What is going on, guys?
Man, you know.
Yeah.
I feel great.
Yeah, you sound great today.
So good.
You sound good.
Yeah, I gotta get all my information out of the first half of the show.
I'm just gonna lose your
feel
voice.
like I'll be gone by the, yeah.
So the weather kind of flipping back and forth getting you?
Yeah, it always does.
It's been like 80 degrees, 59 degrees, 88 degrees, 60 degrees. That's the Midwest. That's what happens here. And it's been kind of crazy the past week.
I think this town is cursed. I don't think it's like this in the other parts of the Midwest.
It's just here?
It's just here.
It feels like that sometimes. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's our penance for missing all the tornadoes.
I guess, except for that one time.
Yeah, for that one time.
Well, if you remember, the weather that year was
tornadoes.
great.
Most of the tornadoes.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. I guess nobody knows what we're talking about, but one time the three of us were together at dinner when a tornado blew through and exploded the restaurant that we were inside of. Like, windows were blowing out, the ceiling tiles were falling down.
Yeah, through the sign from the Target next door at the building we were in.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. But obviously we're all fine because we're here now.
Yeah. That was about 2004, 5?
Five.
Yeah.
5.
I will never forget you and me, Danny, like nose to that glass, like, oh, this is awesome, and that dude across the way going, we're about to get hit by that tornado.
Yeah.
And John asking, how do you know? And he goes, see that flagpole? See that flag sticking straight out, pointed right at us?
Yeah.
And you and me both looked up, and like as we looked up, like the window glass flexed in at us. And I looked at you, and you looked at me, and I went, did you see that?
As soon as we turned our backs to that window, it exploded all over our backs. I was picking glass out of my hair for a week after that. It was ridiculous. I'd be in the shower and be like, what the... Another little piece of glass would just be up in my hair.
In fairness, you had longer hair back then.
I did have longer hair. I didn't have the short hair I have now. But still, it was crazy, man.
We're also we just passed the 13-year anniversary of the WWE Films classic See No Evil.
May 19th?
May 19th.
May 19th. It's Cane Day. Yes, the other day was Cane Day. Yeah, officially Cane Day.
I missed Cane Day? So is that like a holiday?
He's like a mayor now, right?
That's like
do you think he just runs around the town screaming May 19th?
No, I think there's a cane parade.
He puts his mask on that whole day in office, like he just wears the mask.
Yeah.
I think he just did, and now I'm just, because I saw some report about it, but I think he just did some silly press conference or something as mayor and did some skit where he chokeslammed some dude through a table at one of his press conferences.
It's amazing.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's just like, man, that's...
I vote for him. But there's no way he's any more useless than every other politician.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I mean, we're like that's stupidity though, right? No, Idiocracy. That movie, Idiocracy.
Never saw it.
That's like the president in that is just completely bananas. All about theatrics and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, I guess we're just gonna go with Idiocracy. Cool.
Oh, hey, so before we get started, I got something I haven't done on this show.
We haven't started?
Well, I mean, we started the show, but we've got lots of topics to discuss, obviously. But you know what I haven't done on the show in a long time? Talk about my crazy airport stories.
Yes. Jared, have you ever been here for one of these?
He hasn't, but he's lived some of them.
Oh, no, yeah, I know he's heard the stories.
Well, I mean, he's lived some with me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gone through some of them himself. And that's why, like, he was the first person I texted yesterday because he knows exactly what this is like. I was out of town for the weekend for a quick business trip for something that I'm working on, nerd related, that I can't wait to just talk about it. But anyway, I was in Florida for the weekend. I flew home yesterday, and we got back to town pretty early. I had an early flight. It was awesome because I was like, oh, I go home at 2 o'clock, and I was like, I actually have a whole day ahead of me getting home at 2 o'clock. This is great. So I land, and Christina and Spencer actually surprised me at the airport, so that was cool. And I was like, let's just go pick up my bag, and then we'll go have lunch. It'll be awesome. So we stand there, and we're waiting for the bags to show up. And it always takes forever in Springfield to get the bags anyway, which is the dumbest thing because we have this tiny little one-gate airport,
right.
And we have to wait like 45 minutes for our bags to come off the planes every time. Like any giant airport, the bags are down there by the time I get down there. It's crazy. So we're waiting and we're waiting and waiting, and that's just like normal. And the alarm goes off. 3 bags come out on the thing. But then the same 3 bags just keep circling around. And there's an entire plane full of people standing in here, and nobody's picking up these 3 bags that are coming around, right? Or I think maybe one of them. Maybe one bag got picked up and left, and these other same 2 bags keep going around around.
We call that the Springfield Lottery.
Yeah,
I won.
Exactly. that person won, yep. So everybody's kind of standing around. Eventually, some lady comes out from the back, and she's just kind of like, hey, these were the only bags that were on the plane, so you guys are going to have to go up to the desk and talk to them about that. And it's just kind of like everybody else kind of stood around confused and ready to argue. I bolted straight to that desk because I'm like, I know how this goes. I'm just going to go file my claim and get out of here. Because sure enough, I get up to the desk and there's nobody there, and I have to wait for somebody to show up at that desk. And then all those people come and line up behind me.
First, the same lady shows up at the desk 20 minutes later.
I mean, that's basically
pretends like she has no idea who you are. She's just there to meet you for the first time.
If you've never flown out of Springfield Airport, that's essentially how this airport is run. There's like 3 people running this entire operation here, and then they all just do everybody's job. It's crazy.
I mean, how hard do you think that lady fought not to be
the one that had to tell us?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like, man, how did that conversation go? Hey, we need you to go tell everybody. No.
I'm kind of trying to figure out what it was like.
It was probably just whoever's cigarette burned out first.
Yeah, really. I just wonder if they like opened up those doors on that plane to get all the suitcases out and went, "What? There's only 3 suitcases in here. How many people were on that plane?"
Right.
Like how does... Okay, so we flew out of Dallas to get here, and Dallas is where the bags always get lost.
Man.
Every time, that's where your bag got lost twice.
Both ways, yeah.
Both ways, there and back.
Right.
Like when Jaron and I flew to Mexico, Dallas lost his bag both times. Well, one time, they sent it to Hawaii for no reason. It was ridiculous.
Well, then it just vanished in Hawaii.
It vanished in Hawaii and then showed up in Mexico the next day, right? Yeah. And then they lost it again on the way home. It was ridiculous. So Dallas is where my bags always get lost. So like literally, they didn't know what happened. Like the guy at the desk was like, "We're trying to figure out what the heck happened. We don't even know yet. So I mean, just fill out the claim and we'll deliver the bag when we get it." So I came today. I got it today. It showed up.
Good. At least it showed up.
How do you like? Okay, so
if I'm working at the Dallas baggage claim and I realize a whole plane took off without there, it just goes in the garbage.
I was gonna say,
I put it on the plane.
That's what I mean.
I put it on the plane, guys.
Like I'm trying to figure out who in Dallas is like, there's 3 bags on this plane. That seems right. Go ahead. Send it off. Shut it. That's definitely accurate.
Yeah.
There's probably only 3 bags. Like, how does that even happen? That's just.
Well, they're sitting there going, "Hey, this plane's about to take off," and the guy's going, "I barely had time to go through any of these. I've only gone through 3 of them so far."
It's totally ridiculous, man.
That's insane.
Air travel. It's just the most overpriced, most absurd. I just don't even understand, man. I don't know. It's crazy. But anyway, that was my weekend.
That's awesome.
I'm just at this point, like I can't even get mad about lost bags anymore. Like it's just like, well, here we go again. All right, I'll have it tomorrow. Fine, whatever. I'll let all these other people be mad.
Well, the thing
I'm gonna file my claim and go home.
But the thing about it is anybody you could ever get mad at, it's not their fault.
Exactly. These
Like,
guys had to deliver
right.
the news.
Yeah.
Oh, some other idiots in a different airport lost all your bags. Sorry about it.
Can't you buy like a little thing that like you can just track GPS with your phone and just see where your bag is at all? Just out of curiosity.
So, well,
like,
maybe.
Put something in your bag and that way you can...
Probably.
Yeah.
So like the app,
GPS tracker.
the app, because I use the app for everything now, and you can track your bag with the app. So like I looked straight at my app and I was like, oh, scanned in Dallas, and that's where this trail stops. So my bag is definitely still sitting in Dallas. Like I as soon as I got it to the desk, I was like, I can tell my bag's still in Dallas, bro. Like, look right here.
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, okay, well, we'll file a claim. But yeah, man, it is just what it is. It's not the first time. It's not going to be the last time. I mean, that's just the way it goes. All right. Well, we've got quite a bit of things to talk about. Actually, it's been 2 weeks since the last time we recorded, and of course, when having that much time between episodes, there's always a lot of random things that pops up to talk about. So why don't we start with some of the first big news items that broke, because literally right after we were done recording this last time, and we were even talking about Star Wars a little bit, and I think I said something like, I'm pretty sure they're taking some time off before doing any more Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
The very next day, Disney came out with some release date news, which included the future of Star Wars. So they had to prove me wrong with that, because that's what they do, I think. So Disney...
Well, it says the next movie on the list isn't for several years, is it?
Right, but I had like said something like, I'm pretty sure I read that they were going to stop doing movies for a while and just focus on the streaming stuff, and then they proved me wrong by saying, hey, here's new movies coming out. So
when's the first one?
So we've got a brand new Star Wars trilogy that starts in 2022, December 16th, 2022, followed up by December 20th, 2024, and ending on December 18th, 2026.
They've been doing one a year since they restarted. I'm still counting you as right.
Okay,
because they're a 3-year gap.
They're taking 3 years off.
But the trilogy has been 2 years apart still.
Yeah,
but they're not doing anything else in between. There's a 3-year gap, and then the new one is starting. Okay. So I would call that some time off.
Okay. Now, and we don't even know what these movies are actually about yet, because these are supposed to be the new trilogy that don't have anything to do with the current saga,
is this
supposedly.
The Rian Johnson one?
Well, originally he was announced as the guy being behind those. I don't know if that's still the case, or they don't say here. So, they just said that Disney announced there will be a trio of untitled Star Wars entries that will hit theaters after Star Wars: Rise of the Skywalker brings the Skywalker saga to a close. So these will be after the Skywalker saga. So it'll be something completely different.
Personally, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with it.
I've been so ready for other Star Wars stuff. Like all my complaints about I really liked the Solo movie.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
If it had not been a Solo movie.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You know, like I thought that would have been a great movie for them to throw out there as like, hey, look, all this other stuff is happening like concurrent to the current side, Rey and Kylo Ren's story, like all this stuff is happening somewhere else.
Right.
I'd have been totally down for that.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a big galaxy. It's cool. It's cool to think about different things happening within this.
Which is kind of how they sold it when they started. They're like, oh, we're going to be able to tell stories outside of just this, like the trilogy storyline thing. But then they just kept doing movies that were just offshoots of.
Yeah, they were doing like prequel stuff.
Which again, I was fine with the ones they came out with, but I'm also excited about the idea of characters I've never seen before.
Yeah. So along with the Star Wars news, they also announced official release dates for the new Avatar trilogy, which has been delayed. They actually pushed this one back, but then announced official release dates for them. So Avatar 2 hits December 17th, 2021, which was originally supposed to be 2020, so they pushed that a year. And then Avatar 3 will now open December 22nd, 2023. Avatar 4 in
25.
25? Oh, and then Avatar 5 and 27. So that's 4 more Avatar movies that they've announced dates for. Where the heck are they going with it? 4 more movies for Avatar? What do they have in mind for these?
I'm sure they'll be fine. I'm sure they'll make money. I don't remember if it was on the show previously or if it was just us talking, but I just don't see the call for 4 more Avatar movies 10 years later.
We've definitely talked about it on the show, and I feel the same way.
Like, if they would have struck while the iron was hot, I get it, because that's sort of what Hollywood does. We've got this huge movie, so let's make more of them so people remember it, but nobody talks about Avatar.
Right.
You know?
Nobody.
I mean, this is kind of like a retroactive Pirates, right? Like Pirates was a big, based off a ride. Pirates was a big hit.
I see where
Avatar was a big hit. They made a world off of it, or they made a park off of it.
Yeah, they made a theme park.
Now they got to release the movies based on the park, right?
I would not be surprised if that's exactly what their thought process is. I'm like, we spent all this money to build this park, and it's great, and people love it. But if we keep pumping movies out and make people want to keep coming to it, absolutely.
Yeah, they're like. I keep thinking, there was a pretty long. I think there was a 5 or 6 year gap between the first Terminator and the second Terminator, and everybody wasn't talking.
James Cameron does not make quick movies.
No. But I keep looking back to that, and I was like, well, everybody wasn't talking about the Terminator for nonstop for 6 years until they got a new one. But that was a different world.
Yeah.
Movies were a different thing back then. You could make a movie and then go 5 years later, remember that movie I made? Let's do it better. You know, nowadays, like, everybody's always talking about everything, and everything's a franchise, and movies are just nonstop conversation. It's really, I'm not saying it can't work. I'm not predicting one way or the other, anything like that. I just don't get it.
Yep.
Speaking of the theme park part 2, the thing that's still so funny about it, and like I haven't been to Avatar, or what do they call it? It's called Pandora, but it's called something else, and I can't remember what it is right now. But it looks awesome.
Unobtainium Land?
It looks Unobtainium Land. It looks really cool. It looks like they did the awesome Disney Imagineering thing and made a cool land out of it. But it's always going to be the park that they hurried up and bought the rights to and built, because they turned down Harry Potter and Universal ran with it and made Harry Potter Land a huge success. So then Disney scrambled to find something else to compete, and they grabbed the Avatar rights because Avatar was so huge.
Right.
And then they did nothing with it for years. Yeah. So like the whole thing is just so weird, because it was just like they did that in reaction to realizing they made a mistake by passing on Harry Potter, and now this is what we've got.
That's just the kind of thing it feels like. It feels like there was one guy in charge there, right?
Yeah.
And one guy was like Harry Potter. No. And then his boss called him in the next day and was like, hey, so you closed down that Harry Potter thing, right? And he was like, yeah, I closed it down. I was like, that's not what I meant, man. I wanted... And he was like, no, I got... What? I got Avatar. I'm doing this Avatar thing. And then he had to hurry and do this Avatar thing. And then his boss was like, you got the Avatar. What are we going to do with Avatar, man?
Yeah, that's totally what it feels like. I'm a genius. Vince was in charge of Disney at the time. Michael Eisner lost a bet and handed off the reins to Vince McMahon for the weekend, and that's what happened. Vince McMahon turned down Harry Potter and booked Avatar to win instead.
Eisner McMahon, CEO for a day. Oh my goodness!
I just picture that guy backtracking. Like, James Cameron's already said he's going to make more of these. I'm sure they'll be out any time now. and the boss going, "What have you done?"
Yeah.
I just want to. Now I want a movie that's Trading Places, but with Michael Eisner and Vince McMahon.
Oh my god! I guess it would actually have been Bob Iger, right? But Michael Eisner's funnier though, so Michael Eisner's funnier.
I don't want to see Trading Places with Bob Iger and Vince McMahon.
Yeah, it's funnier with Michael Eisner. All right, so the last bit of this Disney release date news on the Marvel side of things. While we don't have any future news on the MCU yet, we know that there's movies coming. They haven't put any dates out there aside from that, but they did update some dates for the remaining Fox Marvel movies.
They have dates for the MCU movies. They just
they
haven't said what they are.
Okay.
There's two coming next year, and then there's 3 coming each of the following 2 years. And it's mostly early in the year dates, as I remember. I think it's like the February, March, and it might be early summer and then midsummer.
Yeah, they're keeping that cluster kind of.
Yeah.
Which I guess they got to do that because they got Avatar and Star Wars at the end of the year.
I wonder how long they're going to sit on that before they start announcing stuff.
I mean, they had talked about not doing it like they did before. They're not going to do the thing where they let us know 3 years or 6 years worth of movies ahead of time, which I think is good.
It does feel weird, though, because I feel like, usually about this time when we're already a year out from the next one, we already have seen like teasers even for that one by now, right? So it's kind of strange that
they really are treating this like an ending.
Yeah,
and
it feels
they're
that way.
letting some time come. Plus, you've got the idea that they've got all these other properties coming in now.
Yeah.
And so, wow, this is fading much quicker than I hoped it would. They've got all these other properties coming in now, so now there's the anticipation of, I mean, the first couple, next year's are probably going to be that Black Widow movie and Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
The year after that, one of the three will be Guardians 3.
I totally forgot they were doing Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Is that for sure, or was that just like talk?
I'm pretty sure that was for sure.
Whoa, that's crazy.
I'm not sure, but
I bet one of next year's will be Black Panther.
Oh, Black Panther 2?
Possibly. Yeah. The year after that then would have been, I think, Guardians 3, hopefully by that second year, and then, the Black Panther, or whichever one isn't next year for Black Panther. Sure. And so we basically know 3 or 4 of the next 2 years worth
Captain
of them.
Marvel 2 has got to be a thing too, right? Didn't they say that they're doing that? Yeah.
Doctor Strange 2 is supposed to be on the table.
Too.
I mean, there's lots of sequels still theoretically coming.
Yeah.
But then you start waiting for the announcement of, eventually we're getting a Fantastic Four.
Right.
Yeah.
Eventually the X-Men will pave their way into the proper MCU. It's a matter of when and how long we have to wait. But I think it's great not how awesome is it going to be excited about an X-Men MCU movie and only have to wait 9 months or a year and a half and not half a decade.
Not half a decade, yeah.
So,
well, speaking of the X-Men stuff, what they did announce here with this batch of releases is the final release dates for what's left of Fox's Marvel run movies, because they're still going to go ahead and release the New Mutants, which is that one that feels like it just keeps getting shoved off, right? So it's now been pushed back to April 3rd, 2020. So it's coming out next year sometime.
Though. Like that one, because that one kind of looks like a horror movie.
Yeah, that's.
So I'm kind of shocked that Disney is like, it almost. Well, I expected Disney to be like, horror movie, cancel that.
Yeah. It felt like
they just drop it immediately.
Right.
Yeah, it felt.
Get it done.
It felt like they were kind of going to sweep that one and Phoenix under the rug a little bit. Because, I know Phoenix is coming out now, but it still doesn't feel like it's getting very much love. It's not. They're going to treat this one the same way. Like, they're going to put it out, but I bet they don't hype this thing very much.
From a business standpoint, those movies always make money, so it would probably be totally stupid for them to shelve an already completed movie that they can make a bunch of money on their investment back on. I was hoping they would. Just to, it's already, we're a couple of years removed from the last one. It'd be that much quicker that we could start making real X-Men movies.
Yeah. But movies also have like investors and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so sometimes, it's easier to release a movie and let it flop and give them their failed return rather than have to pay them for canceling it. You know what I mean? So,
and I'm sure they'll make.
I'm sure it'll flop.
Yeah.
Brand recognition alone.
Well, it almost has like an interesting place in history now, being that it's kind of the last. I know we're going to get New Mutants later, whatever. This is the last.
I don't think New Mutants counts.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? So that kind of gives it a special place. Just in the zeitgeist,
right?
Not necessarily whether it's good or bad or whatever.
This is the second time we've done the Phoenix story, and it's our last X-Men movie. We know how to do this really well.
Hey, what if Fox decides to lead, or not Fox? What if Marvel X-Men decides to lead off
with the Phoenix
Phoenix saga? That'd be.
But then they would do it right.
I feel like that'd just be amazing. Like you almost feel like, come on, guys.
They had another Phoenix movie?
They had another Phoenix?
Well, if canceling Fox X-Men movies is something that makes you happy, the last part of this is that Disney did officially cancel the Channing Tatum Gambit movie, which was slated for release March 13th, 2020, and now it's been shelved completely, so that is not happening.
I feel like that, when you hear about a celebrity dying, but you thought they were dead for years anyway?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's what this news was, basically.
Yeah. I know, I didn't know
hey,
it was
this movie's not coming out. That movie wasn't coming out. Like, I guess thanks for writing it down. But,
At least now we know.
Yeah.
Hey, do you think Channing Tatum's first call was to Disney? Hey guys, I'm up for anything. That Gambit movie's not happening. I will do anything.
All right, so continuing the Disney news then, the other big piece of news that came out right after all those release date announcements is that Disney's takeover of Hulu is just about complete. So this is kind of one of those things that broke, and everybody was like talking about it, but I thought this was news that we already knew because we already talked about it with the whole Fox merger. With Disney buying Fox, they were going to gain majority control of Hulu just off of that Fox purchase. So I thought that was already well known, but with this news actually breaking, I saw a lot more people, I guess, coming to the realization that was a thing that was happening. Because what the news says is that Comcast on Tuesday, which is just a week ago now, agreed to sell its ownership stake in the streaming video service to Disney. The sale won't happen for at least another 5 years, but Disney will take full operational control of Hulu immediately. So they are just taking over control. As of right now, Disney is in full control of Hulu. So this is, they haven't announced any sort of actual press release or information on how they're going to handle this yet. We probably won't see any big changes to it, I don't think, for a little while still. But the way we were kind of speculating in our initial news about it is, I kind of assume, I think we all kind of assume that they're going to use Hulu to release their non-family friendly stuff, right? Like I don't think they have big plans to change what's going on.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see big changes to it.
Neither do I.
There's no reason to.
Yeah. But of course I've already seen everybody doing the whole, Disney's taking over everything and they're going to ruin our streaming and this and that. And I don't think it's time to get that, I'm not worried about this.
Getting Comcast away from your business is not going to make your business worse.
Well, that's the thing. I know that it's real easy to look at Disney and be like, oh my God, Disney's buying the world because of all this entertainment stuff they've been picking up. But Comcast is so much larger than Disney still. Comcast owns more than Disney owns, and nobody ever talks about that. Right. You know what I mean?
And they're the worst people.
They are the worst. There are other companies out there that are bigger than Disney too. Disney's just the one that's kind of like in the forefront, I think, because of the properties that they own. It's right there in front of us, and we know it, and we see it happening, and it's been making big news over the last couple of years with everything they've been acquiring, but they are not the biggest company as far as like things that they own and other companies that they own. So, I don't know. Just throwing that out there. So it'll be interesting to see if anything changes. I'm not assuming that there's going to be a lot of huge changes. Oh, the other part of this is that AT&T actually had like a small 10% share, and apparently when this whole thing happened, AT&T was like, oh, that's cool, we're out then. We don't need this 10% anymore. Like literally, that's what happened. So like, because I think it was like a 30-30-30-10 split. It was like Disney, Comcast, was it NBC? No, well yeah, Disney, Comcast, Fox. Yeah. And then AT&T. So when Disney got Fox, they got the majority, and then Comcast was like, all right, we'll just sell the rest of ours then. And then AT&T was like, all right, fine, we're out. And just like cashed in their 10%.
Just cash in your shit.
Yeah. So that's like Disney just gets the whole thing now. So that's the way that works. So
that's insane.
Pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy.
We are gonna get to live through an era of actual monopolies.
It feels like we're already kind of there. Monocles and all.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, everything is. I mean, you could talk about the conspiracy theories. I don't think that. Well, I don't think there's theories. Like, you know.
I want that to be our show now.
Oh no.
We can talk about that. No, but there's, you know, a lot, like you can trace all the food companies back to three main companies. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's stuff like that is already happening.
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, you can do that with eyeglasses, I think.
Right, yes.
I'm pretty sure all the diamonds are owned by one company.
Yes.
Oh I watched that Adam Ruins Everything episode about diamonds.
Yep. Great show. That's a good show.
Yeah, it was a great show.
I'm pretty sure.
But I mean, everything else is just kind of like we're starting to see that work through, and that everything is consolidating, like on the surface too.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we're gonna hit that point.
I'm pretty sure this stuff is technically medicine, and I don't think I'm supposed to go through an entire bottle in 2 hours.
No, I don't think you're only supposed to.
Man.
I think it'll be fine, but
if I OD on chloroseptic,
it's just a little apple juice, right?
Yeah, it just numbs your throat. You're fine.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, tell my wife I love her.
All right.
I mean, I'm sure
he died doing what he loves. Podcasting and sucking down medicine.
I mean, I'm shutting the lights off, and you were still fine when I left.
Oh, great. This is my house. This is not going to be fun cleanup for me. All right, movie news. Let's keep going.
Movie news.
No, do we have to talk about this one?
Yes,
so
we
good.
do.
What's
All
up
right.
next?
Sony Pictures and Mattel Films
The
have set
best.
an official release date of March 5th, 2021 for the Masters of the Universe film starring Noah Centineo as He-Man. So we just talked about in the last episode how they announced him as He-Man, but then immediately delayed the movie to a non-disclosed date, and I kind of laughed about that and made fun of it. And here we are a week later, and it's got an official release date again. It's been bumped up 2 years because they were like trying to say it was going to be Christmas this year. Remember, that was the date, and now it's March 5th, 2021, right in time for my birthday.
I wouldn't worry.
You wouldn't worry. I don't have anything else to say. You guys already know.
Man, it's just like, what company runs, like, I can't decide if this is the way things have always been, but because the internet wasn't a thing, we didn't see it.
Maybe.
Right? Now there's so much news and everybody reporting on it and everybody on the internet, and it goes up on the internet, so podcasts talk about it and YouTubers talk about it, and everybody, the websites report it so that they can get their clicks in.
Right.
And so like every move.
Can we do one of those videos for YouTube where you just read this news and then start screaming at it?
I mean,
those reactions.
The reaction?
Yeah.
What? That's how you get 1 million subscribers. That's the code that you got to crack. I've been doing it wrong all these years. I mean, yeah. I should just be reacting to news and trailers and screaming and stuff. And well, He-Man's going to have some competition.
No, it won't.
Because also announced this week, Warner Brothers has announced that Mortal Kombat, a movie reboot, will be released in cinemas on March 5th, 2021. Same release date. So we get a Mortal Kombat reboot and the He-Man reboot, both slated for the same date right now, March 5th, 2021. Hey, I liked the first Mortal Kombat movie.
Me too.
For
I did
what it
not
was.
like the second Mortal Kombat.
No, the second one was Annihilation.
No, yeah.
It's so bad. The first one's bad too, but I liked it for what
the
it
first
was.
one's fun bad. The second one's just bad.
Yeah.
I felt like Annihilation was a more appropriate adaptation than the first one.
They actually made the characters look more like the video game ones in the second
Well, and they
one,
were
I think.
completely arbitrary.
Yeah.
Like they walk it, like I haven't seen it in forever, but like I just remember like they're walking down a canyon and like Cyrax jumps out.
Yeah.
And they fight Cyrax, and then they go to the next thing, and like they just in my memory, like they just walk into a military base where like Jax like jumps up with his arms,
Got his metal arms,
yeah, and he like breaks up off the table and fights somebody, but like there's no setup. It's not like we saw Jax getting his metal arm. He's just like, oh well, I'm here now, I got metal arm. Like
I just remember that movie started right where the first one ended, and then they just killed Johnny Cage at the beginning of the movie.
And all of a sudden, Christopher Lambert was Dexter's dad instead.
Yeah. Oh boy, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the new Mortal Kombat movie.
I hope it starts right where the second one ended.
Oh no. I'm sure it'll be. Well, I'm not going to say that. I don't know. It's going to be.
There's only one thing we know for sure about that movie.
What?
And that's that it won't be coming out March 5th, 2021.
I don't know, man. I'm ready to buy my advance tickets for that doubleheader. Double feature.
Double feature, both of them. I'll watch them both the same day.
Yeah. If they both make it out that same day, we are watching them that same day. Like I'm not gonna go see one and not the other.
Let that flip a coin to decide which one we go to first.
All right, you guys ready to talk about some movie news that really outraged the internet this week?
I'm juiced. I'm so excited.
It has been announced that Robert Pattinson will be taking on the role of Batman in the upcoming The Batman movie, hitting theaters June 25th, 2021.
We're in a safe space here, right?
Yes, we're in
This
a
is
safe
the internet.
space.
Nobody.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, nobody can hurt you, John.
Fine with that.
You're fine with it.
Yeah, totally.
I'm going to say that...
Hold on, no. Defend.
Okay, I like that. All right.
What, I have nothing to hold against this guy except for that he was in a series of terrible movies that anyone on the planet would have done had they been offered that place instead. I haven't seen him in a ton outside of that. I've seen him in bit roles or smaller, I don't know if they've been bit roles or not. I've seen him in some smaller movies and been fine with him. From what I can tell, review-wise, he's been pretty good in a few things that I just haven't seen. But Batman, as a franchise, has a way of casting people that just really upsets everyone, and then it turns out awesome.
Well, everybody had a meltdown when...
As far as the fences go, that was pretty good.
Everybody had a meltdown when Affleck was cast.
Yeah. Everybody had a meltdown when Heath Ledger was cast as Joker. Everybody had a meltdown when Michael Keaton was cast as Batman.
That's the one that everybody keeps really... I've seen a lot of arguments with that, with Pattinson specifically, because they're a little more relatable as far as the type of movies they were in before the casting. And like, if you look, there's a bunch of like old critics and like articles and stuff like reacting to the original Michael Keaton casting where they're doing the same kind of thing.
Oh, yeah?
Where people are just flipping out about the fact that Mr. Mom is going to be Batman and this guy doesn't, he's not buff enough to be Batman and all kinds of stuff like that.
That was pre-internet days and I was 9 and I remember that backlash.
I remember that.
Yeah, like that was a huge thing.
I've heard,
and he's probably still my favorite.
I've heard Sylvester Stallone say that that was when the action star died.
Was when Keaton got cast as Batman. So ridiculous. Jeez. I don't really feel one way or the other about his casting, honestly. I'm kind of sitting in that position where, like, when I saw the news, I laughed because I knew what was going to happen when that news came out. And we have a lot of fun on this podcast making fun of Warner Brothers and their decisions with DC.
Yeah.
So immediately I was like, well, this is going to be podcast gold. All right. But that was really my only thought on it. Like, I super don't care. Like, he was in those terrible, terrible, terrible Twilight movies.
Yeah.
But he's been in other stuff too, like you said.
There's a lot of people in those movies that are pretty good. You know, like wasn't Anna Kendrick in those movies?
Yeah, before anybody knew who she was.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who these people were.
But you're right.
You know?
But like
Robert Pattinson was not one of those people. Though he did you watch those movies? He was terrible in those movies.
I think I saw one of them.
He was terrible in those movies.
They're real bad. Him and Kristen Stewart both. Now, I guess to be fair,
Kristen Stewart is the worst.
She's been in other stuff.
I've seen her in other stuff, and I haven't seen anything I've liked her in.
Right. Oh, okay.
So if they cast her as a big role, I can be upset.
She was in that Joan Jett movie? Was that any good? I've always wanted to see it. The Runaways. Yeah. That's one I actually wanted to really see.
If Joan Jett never smiled, she might have been pretty good.
I hope they cast her as Vicky Vale, and we just.
Oh my God! We just get. Oh my gosh! And then Batman doesn't have any superpowers, but he does sparkle.
He just pulls a handful of glitter out of his utility belt and he's just like, I'm hideous, look away.
I just hope he talks like Christian Bale. Because I just want that. I love you, Bella. Oh man.
So ultimately I don't care. I don't care for Robert Pattinson. I've only ever seen him in the Twilight movies, and he was awful in those.
Well, same with me. Those are the only movies I've ever seen him in. So I can't really, like, I want to be that guy that's like, just because he was in those doesn't mean he's a bad actor.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the direction he was given.
Yeah.
Maybe the scripts were obviously terrible for those movies.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like maybe it wasn't his fault. I don't know. I haven't seen him in anything else.
That was his breakout stuff. This was what, 10 or 15 years ago.
Right.
Those were going to be bad movies no matter what, and everyone was going to be bad in them no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm not defending him to the point where I think this kid is great. I just don't have that frame of reference. I'm just not going to look at it and go, well, he couldn't save those movies that were destined to be terrible when he was 19. He must be awful at everything. I don't have that background to.
Right.
And again, no one in their right mind would have been offered that role and not taken it.
Well, yeah.
So I can't fault him for making decisions that I would have made in his place.
I'm not faulting him for making that decision. I'm not specifically faulting him for being. Well, I am faulting him for being bad because, like you said, there were other people in those movies that were not bad that couldn't save those movies. Who is Jacob?
Oh, I don't.
Taylor Lautner.
Taylor Lautner. Taylor Lautner was good in those movies. He didn't save those movies, but you watch Taylor Lautner and you go, "Oh, Taylor Lautner's pretty good in this." You watch Robert Pattinson.
That's actually a fair point because I remember.
Yeah,
I think I've seen 2 of them, maybe.
Right.
I'm sure I know because this was Did they do the thing in that one where there was 3 of them, but the last one was 2?
Yeah.
So I'm sure I never saw any of those. I think I saw the first 2.
I don't think I've ever been so mad in a movie theater than I was when I was watching that last movie.
In the invite?
Spoilers. Oh my god. I don't think it matters, because nobody cares. But that fight made me... No, I react like...
The fight or the end of the fight?
The end of the fight.
See, that's the one thing in all those movies that I liked.
I liked it when I thought they were actually really all like just murdering each other, and then it was like a vision, and it didn't actually really happen, and then they prevented it from happening, and I went, "What the hell?" Like I screamed in the middle of the theater. Everybody around me laughed. Christina had her head buried, and I was just like, I was that outraged. I was like, I've given these movies all the chances I could give. That was its one redeeming quality, and you took it away from me. Like,
see, I liked that because you don't have to, and I wouldn't argue with anybody. It is the cheapest cheap trick that I've ever seen, but they got me with it. So like I give it to like you guys okay. All right, you guys got me with that one.
Mad.
You guys got me with that one.
I was just like, I don't know why I'm at these. Well, I was only.
I hated those movies enough that like I didn't.
Right.
You know, I was not invested. And they're going through, they're having this big apocalyptic in-game fight, and they're all murdering each other, and you're watching all these characters die. And I was not invested in any of them anyway, so I didn't care.
That's what I mean. I was just like, yeah, we got this. Here we go. They're ripping heads off, and things are getting awesome now, and like they're actually being violent vampires, so that's cool. Oh, never mind. She just envisioned all of that could possibly happen. Let's just keep that from happening, guys. Because we gotta be friends and sparkle.
My 2 favorite parts about that franchise were reading comedy articles back in the day, I think on Cracked mostly, that were, not the movies even, the books. And they were going over the books, and they would have like actual excerpts from the books and how poorly written they were. And the whole point was basically like, you know, we're not doctoring these. This is an actual page in this book, you know. That and then you know, breaking down the story for Christy and how terrible of a story it is for young girls to like as example or however you want to say it, you know.
Yeah.
Like what an awful story that is.
Right.
You know, developmentally.
Yeah.
And pointing that out to her, her getting mad.
Yeah.
Because I was like, why are you mad? She's like, because I liked those an hour ago, and now I can't.
Oh, yikes.
So anyway, I have another point about Robert Pattinson.
Okay.
Because I think it's worth pointing out, like, you knew, the instant you heard his name, you knew. So, like, you know, what kind of decision-making process is Warner Brothers going through, where they're like, oh, that kid from that movie that everybody hates, he's our Batman.
Warner Brothers doesn't know what people like.
No, yeah.
My point. That's my point, bro.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Matt Reeves, the director, went, everybody's going to hate this. He can be my Heath Ledger / Michael Keaton / whatever.
Oh, he's going for that. That's his plan.
And he took it to Warner Brothers, knowing he just took it to Warner Brothers with a print off of the box office mojo search results for the Twilight Saga. It was like, I want this guy. Here's how much money he's made. And they signed off right away. They didn't even need to know his name.
Oh my God.
Fair enough.
So.
Oh gosh. I mean, we've already got internet petitions demanding that Warner Brothers remove him from the role. There's it's full on.
That worked real well for Affleck.
I know, right? Like we've just gone full on cancel culture because that's just what we do now on the internet. And I have to give credit to my friend Daniel online for this joke, but I read it and laughed. He wrote, "You know who really likes this news? That kid that they just cast to be He-Man."
Hey, no joke.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well,
so that's an interesting thing to bring up too with the cancel culture, because we just kind of had a brief discussion on the last episode about the outrage or whatever it is around the Sonic.
Yeah.
And now they're changing it.
And they're changing it because of the outrage. You're right.
Right.
You're right.
So now this, we're going to get this outrage. Are they then going to hire a different actor before? Warner Brothers, but I think, for me, I think we found that line.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that's where the line is. Like they paid people to make Sonic, and it looks terrible, and it came out, and everybody went, fart noise. Not watching that. And they went, oh, well, let's go ahead and change it before we release it.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like that's the same. That gives them the opportunity to do something better before we don't go see it.
Yeah.
Right. So like almost that's almost like the same as if we had not gone to see it. Like they just go ahead and release it knowing it's going to be bad.
Right.
Right. With this, we're jumping to this conclusion to try and cancel this just because this kid was in some movies we don't like.
Exactly.
And that's where the line,
that is,
if he makes a bad movie and we don't like his movie, then we get to go, hey, I told you so. Uh-huh. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, and Warner Brothers has to eat that. But, like, to just jump right out and be like, well, to John's point, this kid made some movies when he was 19 and they were terrible. We don't ever want to see him again. Like, I don't know, guys. I think that's where the line is.
I agree with you. I do think that's a little much. I think it's an overreaction. I don't understand. I've never been I didn't even get that mad about Noah being cast as He-Man and everybody else did because I don't know. I just
you're a level-headed human being.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a highly excitable internet.
You're on the internet. You are not the internet.
Okay. All right. There we go. Oh man. Well, we'll see. What's the release date for this again?
2019?
No, not 2019.
I just saw that. I was like,
It's up here, I think. It is 2021. So we got a lot of good stuff coming out 2021, guys. We got Robert Pattinson as Batman.
We got a lot of stuff.
We got Noah as He-Man. Yeah. We got Mortal Kombat. This is going to be a banner year right there. I can't wait. Well, hey, speaking of Sonic the Hedgehog, why don't we jump over to some video game news? We'll get off the movies here for a little bit. We've talked about this a little bit in the past when we kind of talked about some of the video game stuff. Because we talked about a potential Nintendo 64 classic and the things we would like to see on that. But one of the things that is for sure coming that had already been announced is the new Sega Genesis Mini. And this has been known about for some time. It comes out this September 19th to be exact. And these little Sega systems with built-in games have actually been on store shelves for a while, but what makes this one stand out is that this one is actually being produced by Sega. All of those other ones were done by a company called At Games, who just had the license from Sega. And they were pretty notorious for not having the best of emulation. Like, the stuff was fine, but, like, the sound is... A lot of people complained about the sound being off, or the game's running at slower speeds. And, like, the quality just wasn't there in a sense of, like, how good the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo classics were. Like, Nintendo made those, and they were, like, top quality little emulation systems, and the games were great. So, because of that... Everybody else is jumping on the bandwagon of the mini systems, and Sega took this back from At Games, and now they're releasing their own Sega Genesis Mini. It's going to come with 40 games, and just within this past week, we've gotten a big chunk of the games announced. So we know 30 of the 40 now.
You brought it up last time when you were talking about the Sonic trailer. The little tagline, or I think you made a joke about, because they had that tagline in there about, like, every hero has a Genesis.
Every hero has a
Genesis. You were like, Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
Yeah.
Like, you brought that up or whatever. The first article I saw that announced this was titled, Genesis does what Nintendo did.
Yeah! That's
made me really happy.
Genesis does what Nintendo does also?
Yeah.
All right, let's run down what they've revealed so far for games. This is a pretty stellar list.
Yeah.
Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania Bloodlines, Space Harrier 2, Shining Force, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Toe Jam and Earl, Comic Zone, Sonic the Hedgehog, Altered Beast, Gunstar Heroes, Mickey's Castle of Illusion, and Mickey and Donald's World of Illusion, Thunder Force 3, Super Fantasy Zone, I love the Fantasy Zone games, Shinobi 3, Streets of Rage, Earthworm Jim, Sonic 2, Contra Hardcore, Landstalker, Beyond Oasis, Ghouls and Ghosts, Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, Golden Axe, Phantasy Star 4, Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, Sonic Spinball, Vector Man, Wonder Boy and Monster World, and then the big one, the big bomb that was dropped this past week, Mega Man The Wily Wars. This is already a really, really great lineup, and we've, with those other Sega systems that have come out before, plus there's like a huge assortment of various Genesis collections on a lot of the consoles, like PlayStation 3 and 4, and I bought one for the Switch this past Christmas. That's really good. But even with all of those, the lineup that they're putting out for this is incredible. And there's some games on here, specifically Mega Man The Wily Wars was a big deal announcement this past week. And if you're not familiar, it's because that game has never been officially released in the United States. The only way that came out here was briefly on the Sega Channel. Did you know about the Sega Channel when you were a kid?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, we were talking about that earlier. Man, was that ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Because that's basically all the streaming stuff we do now, but it was 20 years ago for the Genesis.
Right.
Yeah.
And there were a handful of games that only ever appeared on that. And it's kind of like, nowadays we're at this point, like, video game preservation's getting a lot better, and like we're starting to get a hold of a lot of these ROMs, and people are starting to like release these games that have never had physical media before, and I love that. So Mega Man The Wily Wars, like getting an official release that we can actually play this game is pretty fantastic, especially for somebody like me and you who are big Mega Man fans, and your son. That's a new Mega Man game for him to play.
I love Mega Man.
Yeah, I know, but I know that Connor is real big into Mega Man.
Yeah,
right now,
he's
right?
huge.
Yeah.
And so, like, what is the Wily Wars?
So the Wily Wars is essentially a 16-bit remake of Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 from the NES, brought over with like Sega graphics, Sega sound, all that good stuff. But what's cool about it is, aside from seeing these like 8-bit games like done with 16-bit graphics, one other thing that's neat about it is if you beat the 3 Mega Man games that are on there, you unlock like a 4th extra game, which is just like a new Wily's Castle level, but it's got like new robot masters in it that aren't in any other Mega Man game. So I'm really looking forward to like sitting down and playing this kind of for the first time. I think that's going to be exciting stuff. But even outside of that, like Earthworm Jim is on here.
Man, that's my game.
Yeah.
I was a Genesis kid growing up, and Earthworm Jim and Streets of Rage 2 were like the games I played all the time and beat multiple times. some of the only games. The Earthworm Jim was like one of the only games that I ever really like sat down and played with no hints, tricks, codes, nothing like that. Just played start to finish and found all this stuff, like I love that game. So that's a big one. I was going to mention I have, having grown up a Genesis kid, I found some of the, like I have a couple. I have one of the minis, like one of the other little mini systems.
Yeah, one of the games.
And I have one of the collections for PlayStation. And when they started announcing these, I already had all the games. I was like, oh, cool, I don't need to go get this. And then they're like, Earthworm Jim. And I'm like, man, well, I'm getting this one. But then they also like Toe Jam and Earl is not on the other ones. Castlevania Bloodlines.
Yeah,
like,
Bloodlines.
This is going to be, they picked some... Man, they picked some heavy hitters.
They did, yeah. I mean, Castlevania Bloodlines is known as one of the best 16-bit Castlevania games. Like that's a big one. I think that's on here too. But there's a lot of good like smaller games on here too that like people don't talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Like this Landstalker game, I picked this one up at a convention a couple years ago, specifically because I had like seen some videos like showing it off and it looks really cool. Like it's sort of like a Zelda style action RPG kind of game. I had never even heard of that game before, so that's kind of neat seeing that on here. That's what's kind of neat about these systems too. It kind of gives people a chance to play some of these games that they may not have ever had before or always wanted to, that are expensive to buy now, like in physical form. I think that's one of the reasons these are so neat. Like Mickey's Castle of Illusion is one of those games that everybody loves. That's supposed to be like a really good platformer game.
Comic Zone. Comic Zone
is hard.
But it's hard, but it's a really fun game.
Yeah.
I played that one a lot. It's on some of the other ones, but it's a fun game.
Yeah, this is I'm all in. I'm for sure getting this. Like,
so any standouts? Any hopes for the last 10?
The last 10. That's a good call.
Sonic 3's got to be in there, right?
I feel like Sonic 3 and
I'm sure Sonic 3.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Do you think?
Sonic and Knuckles.
It's got to be. I feel like
it's on. Those two are on all the other ones too, so I assume those will both come.
And it feels weird that they wouldn't include those, especially because I feel like those are looked at as some of the best Sonic games. Like everybody loves Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Like the two combined, that's like everybody talks about how good that game is. So I feel like it's got to be there. I'm wondering if they're going to have any more surprises like this, because that's the stuff that really entices me.
See, I've got two that could be a big surprise that I'm hoping for.
I'm trying to think back to some of the Genesis games that I love that aren't on this list, because a lot of them are on there. But I don't think, like, Genesis had a Spider-Man game I really liked at the time. It was kind of a platformer there, but I'm sure licensing-wise that would probably be impossible.
Yeah.
But I can't think of it. Like, nothing else stands out. But part of the fun of these coming out is, like, usually when I see the list, is remembering.
Yeah.
Not that I already remember, being reminded. So I don't have anything that jumps out at me.
What do you think?
So I really hope Flashback, I think it was called. Flashback comes out.
That or Out of This World.
Out of This World is the other one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
I loved those games.
I never played it.
Oh my goodness.
So I loved those games. I never did very good at them, and like I was a little too young, I think, to really like sink my teeth into those. Like I think I even remember kind of having that feeling like I'm really gonna love this game in 10 years, and then Girls happened. So so I never quite got to it. But so I would really love to see those games.
I mean,
Dang.
And
flashbacks on this thing, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah, and the other one, which I assume I assume it can't happen because of licensing issues, but the Genesis X-Men game was amazing.
Which one was there?
The X-Men game was really good.
Yeah.
I've got the
That's the one where you had to reset it.
That was the one where you had to reset it. Yeah.
I think I made a couple of those too. Those were great.
I only remember the one. I only ever played the one. But
I could be wrong. Maybe it was just the one. But yeah.
Well, I'm sure there was others. I just I like I said, I kind of grew out of video games for a long time. I've gotten back into them more recently. So for me, the fact that they're releasing all these you know.
Yeah. I wish we'd never brought this up. I would be so bummed out.
It's not flashback.
Yeah,
Cool. Well, I imagine they're going to be revealing those any time now, because September is the release date, so that's coming up pretty quick. So I'll be picking one up. Hopefully they're not going to be hard to get. I don't know. I guess maybe we should go.
I read some. I mean, probably pre-order just in case. But
Can you pre-order them already?
Yeah.
Oh,
but I read something about.
That's better than the Nintendo ones.
Yeah, I read something about how supply wasn't going to be an issue like it was with the Nintendo.
Can you pre-order on Amazon right now?
Yeah, but
you sure can.
But then we can't hang out at midnight at Walmart.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We did that for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that was.
We should probably just pre-order some.
We stopped at Pancake House
instead of going to Walmart at midnight. We can just meet at one of our houses
and play it. Yeah.
Then we'd have to do it the next day.
They're pretty good at delivering like on the day when you pre-order this stuff.
But not at midnight.
No, that's true. Probably not at midnight. I pre-ordered my Nintendo Switch from Target.com, and it was delivered on release date at my house. Yeah. It was pretty awesome. Like it came that day.
I mean, I'm gonna go pre-order one of these, so I'm just warning you.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want to wait, if you want to go at midnight, I'll go stand with you at midnight to get yours. Mine is coming in the mail.
Can we all pre-order them and then just go at midnight and hang around? You guys want yours? Nah, we got them.
We're good.
Well, Scott will probably want us to go.
Yeah. Then we'll just come over to your house and play yours since you're buying it and ours are in the mail still.
Oh, perfect.
There you go. Well, on the video game subject, that'll bring me to the last topic I thought we would have a discussion about. I'm not sure how long we're going to talk about this, but
we'll try.
All three of us got a chance to go see Detective Pikachu this past week, correct?
Correct.
All right. Let's talk about Detective Pikachu a little bit.
That's pretty good.
I had a lot of fun with it.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep, and that's it. That's it. Well, like,
end of the episode.
Even when I brought this up to you guys, I was like, I should probably talk about it, but I don't feel like I have a lot to say about it. I took Spencer to go see it because he was real amped about it. So that was one of those things where I was like, well, this is going to be a real fun movie to take my kid to and go watch. And it was. Like, he's got like this Pikachu stuffed animal, and so like he wanted to bring it with him, and it was totally one of those kind of things. Like I took him to the drive-in, and we had some pizza, and he held on to his Pikachu, and we watched this movie together, and every time a Pokemon was on screen that he knew, he shouted its name out, and we had a good time, and then the movie was over. And that's basically my experience with that movie. You know what I mean? It's fine. It's totally inoffensive. It's a good video game movie from Nintendo because it's got Pokemon in it, and you can recognize them, and it's a fun movie. But that's, I mean,
the story doesn't surprise you.
No, I
think it maybe tries to, but
it's got a swerve that I called right away. I figured it out. Like I even leaned over to Christina and I told her, and she was just like, "You think?" And I was like, I'm certain of it. And then that was it. She like looked right at me and she's like, "You called that?" And I'm like, "I know.
I've seen a movie before."
Yeah, like it was just blatantly obvious to me exactly what had happened in that. And I don't know why we're not. Is it okay? I guess we can talk spoilers.
I mean, we usually do spoilers.
We usually do spoilers. Yeah. So
and we're over a week out. So
yeah, it's been over a week, and I'm not.
So if anybody's holding out.
Yeah,
you're probably safe to go see it.
We can sidebar just for a second here,
please.
The series finale of Game of Thrones was last night as per taping. I'm 6 seasons behind.
Yeah,
I didn't think for a second I'd make it through the woods there. I thought it would be more than 12 hours.
Oh, I've been pretty good at avoiding it so far. I haven't heard anything yet. But that's the thing too. I'm on season 3 of Game of Thrones. I'm going to be a ways out from seeing this whole thing.
And I will say also, like the part that's been spoiled for me. Doesn't matter because I don't think how that show ends matters that much.
Yeah,
that show's basically just a series of cool moments, and so I guess those by cool I mean ultra violent.
Yeah, and ultra naked.
Yeah, and therefore compelling because you keep watching it going, these people are all awful. What are they going to do next? And that part's not going to stop.
Hate
but
that show.
I had a text conversation ruin it almost immediately this morning. And then I was listening to a podcast, which wasn't even an entertainment podcast, and it just started off just going, "Hey, spoiler alert!" And then before you knew they were talking about Game of Thrones, or had any time to pause it,
right?
Just threw it out there. I'm like, "Well, that's stupid. Why would that happen?"
Yikes! Yeah, man.
I was walking out of that theater. There was like when I went to see Detective Pikachu, there were some people like standing out there waiting for the next showing, and I just said something to one of them about, hey bro, Snape kills Pikachu, and he got so mad, and then he processed what I said. And like I got to watch him like immediately, because he was like standing there, kind of looking at me, and it was one of those like, I don't know you don't know me, but what up nods.
Yeah.
And I gave it back to him, and I just went, hey bro, Snape kills Pikachu. And like I didn't stop, I just kept walking, and I watched him get real mad at me for spoiling the movie, and then process what I said, but then I was gone, so I don't know.
Oh, jeez. Almost wrecked that dude's day for nothing. It's funny because
teach him to be polite and not at somebody he doesn't know.
Yeah, that'll teach him. I mean, along those same lines, when we were at the drive-in to see Pikachu, the way our drive-in works, we have 2 screens, and one of the screens is like facing a road, like a main road, and the other one's like facing a cornfield. So Pikachu's on the one that's facing the road. Avengers was playing on the opposite screen, facing the cornfield. So we're sitting there pretty close to the screen getting ready for the movie to start, and a car drives by on that road, and some teenager hangs out the window and just starts screaming every spoiler he can for Avengers, thinking he's ruining it for a bunch of people who are all the way on the opposite side, not paying any attention to him.
Idiot.
So it was kind of one of those things, like Christina was like, that kid just spoiled like everything for Avengers he could. But like you look around and nobody cares, nobody even notices what this kid is doing. So he tried to ruin some nights and he failed miserably. So shout out to that idiot.
Way to go.
I was telling you while we're on this spoiler conversation that it's amazing to me how, for the most part, except for this idiot in this car, I guess, how respectful people have been of Avengers and how opposite it's been for Game of Thrones. Because no spoilers for Avengers were on the internet for weeks. People were being real good about it. But you can't get on Facebook without everybody just screaming the spoilers to Game of Thrones. Like, it's crazy.
So the difference, Avengers was awesome, and game recognized game.
Okay.
Game of Thrones is just the worst, and so everybody can't wait to complain about how the worst it is.
I was gonna say that's all they seem to be doing about this last season.
Yeah,
everybody seems so mad about it.
There's a petition apparently. Speaking of cancel culture, there's a petition for HBO to redo the final season.
What?
So
that's not gonna happen.
You don't think?
Will they?
I would.
Do over. It was all a vision. It was all a vision.
What do they have to lose, man?
Fair point. Like, it's not like everyone won't watch.
They are scrambling right. Like that's the best thing they could ask for. They are scrambling right now to figure out how they're going to stay a network now that Game of Thrones is over, and nobody cares about their terrible Watchmen reboot. Nobody cares about the Game of Thrones spin-offs that they're coming up with.
They're doing spin-offs for Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
of course they are.
You can only care so much about Ballers, and I love The Rock. Okay, but
they do have that Deadwood movie that'll give people 2 hours of entertainment.
Yeah, to give them any option just to be like, hey, sorry guys, we've got a whole nother season of Game of Thrones coming. I'm surprised they haven't greenlit that already, man. Like, petition or not.
You win. We'll do it. We told them we would do another one.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, even if it takes a lot, they had no hang-ups of just being like putting 2.5 years in between this season and the previous season.
Yeah,
like so even if they're just like, hey guys, it's gonna take us 5 years. Just stick with us, and in 5 years we're gonna redo this season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I don't know why they haven't already done it. I don't know why we haven't had that press release yet.
Right,
like win-win. Like you got all the way through another season and people just want you to do it again? Okay.
Like I said, I just got to the end of season 2, so I know I'm like 7 years behind everyone else on the planet, but I just thought it was great at the end of that season. We're in spoiler territory, right?
Oh, okay. Game of Thrones spoilers from season 2.
From season 2,
Heads up.
That's when all the White Walkers or whatever show up at the very end.
Oh, I haven't seen that episode yet. Okay. I'm on the last episode of season 2.
Oh, I thought you were in 3.
I thought so too.
Okay.
But I must I
sorry.
think I'm on the last episode, but I knew that they were coming.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's not much of a spoiler. It's
You haven't seen any White Walkers?
Not
by
yet.
season 2?
No.
Well, like, I think there's one in like the very first scene of the first episode, and then they just sort of like aren't there anymore forever. Like you don't know what you're watching in the first.
They kind of talk
episode.
about them as not existing or something like that, or like they come up every now.
Well,
and then.
I just feel like the swerve at the end of season 2 is them going, hey, you guys tired of zombies? How about dragons and kings and knights and stuff? Nah, we're just kidding. Here's some zombies.
Oh my god. Unbelievable. So hey, Pikachu, I guess.
Circling back.
I'm curious what you guys think of it as like non-Pokemon fans.
I thought my son was also excited, but I think just because your son was excited.
Oh yeah.
Because he doesn't have much. I guess he's seen a little bit of some Pokemon on Netflix.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But he bounces back and forth between calling it Pikachu or Pikachu.
Pikachu.
Yeah, and I think I didn't realize this until
is that the Spider-Ham universe?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, and I didn't realize this until like a little ways into the movie, and I'm not even positive, but I think he might have thought Pokemon was like a person, like Pokemon or whatever, because he was asking a couple of times. He's like, "Is that Pokemon?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, that's a Pokemon, but they've got different." And like 2 or 3 times in, I was like, "Oh, buddy, they're all Pokemon, but they have different names too." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And just kind of went along with it. But he seemed to really enjoy watching the movie with no frame of reference. I enjoyed it on that level of, normally when I go see this pop culture stuff, I know, even if it's not something I'm into, I know a decent amount about it, especially if it's something this big. Pokemon, I know what you can learn from commercials, and that's about it. So I know what some of the animals were, but not a lot about the mythology or whatever. And so I got to walk into this like feeling like everybody I talk to at work when they see any movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like they were just like, oh yeah, we saw, such and such thing, and then I get to explain it to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Then I walked into this one cold, and I feel like I got enough history that I recognized to immediately associate with it, but at no point did I feel like I was lost anywhere. And so I actually got to look at a movie from the level of I always assume that casual fans seem happy, so they seem to get enough of what they want. And I watched this one from that perspective for once, and that was kind of neat for me.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, like we've been saying, that's a fun, harmless movie. I'm not going to rave about it.
Right.
I would tell people to go see it.
Yep.
If you have any inclination to go see it, you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
If you automatically know you hate Pokemon, why are you bothering to think about it? If you're anyone else, you'll get through an hour and 45 minutes and you'll smile a bunch. But it's not going to change your world.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
not going to. I don't know if it'll spawn a franchise or not. I think it did pretty well money wise, but they kind of end it in a way that I didn't expect them to, from the simple fact that it doesn't bleed right into a second one.
No,
like
it
most
felt
things
like a
do.
definitive ending.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would assume that this was a tester, and what they really want to do is run a live action Pokemon from like with like Ash Ketchum.
Yeah, so they totally there was like an Ash tease at the beginning, right? Like, did you notice that?
Is that the commercial thing?
Well, they were like showing like the trainers and like the battles, and one of those dudes was totally dressed like Ash.
Yeah,
that was supposed to be Ash, right? Or at least our little like, hey, here's Ash, guys.
Yes.
Throw the bone for you. Yeah. But I think you might be right, because like if this does well, which I think it did, and it's going to make money and kids love it, why wouldn't they make more Pokemon movies?
Right.
And now we've got like a world that's introduced.
Yeah,
so.
and I think it did well enough that they'll do more Pokemon movies, but not so well. Like they see the potential.
Yeah.
It didn't do so well that they're like, well, we got to do more.
Yeah.
We got to do more Detective Pikachu. He's got to get.
Yeah.
Which, for the record, is kind of the recipe for a decent franchise a lot of times. Because quite often when you get this massive success that you weren't sure if it was coming or not, and then you rush to make more of those, and then you do them terrible because you have dollar signs rolling around in your eyes, you know. When you've got something where you're like, we made some money, we can go ahead with a new one, but we don't have to get it out by next year.
Right.
They can take their time and really do some cool stuff with it if they want to.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, my hope, I guess, or I wonder if we'll be looking back in the next 5 years, and this will be like the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, you know, where it's like, hey, remember when they first got it right?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
so maybe this Mortal Kombat movie won't suck?
No. Not saying that, but this could spawn a whole generation of movies that won't. It won't be the Mortal Kombat ones, but we'll just never get a good Mortal Kombat movie or a good Street Fighter movie. Like, those just aren't things you can make.
They translate weird to a movie.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they're just
fighting games.
Yeah. Again, I liked the first Mortal Kombat. I don't know if it classifies as a good movie, quote unquote, but I think it was fine for what it was.
The stories
but I also think it's about the best you're going to get.
The stories they've been telling in the recent video games have been good enough for me. You know what I mean? Like, if you need like a movie or a story to the fighting, those are fine. Those are good right there.
I have to say, I haven't sounded off on Detective Pikachu because I was just short of bored. Like, I would say, like, if you don't have kids and you aren't into Pokemon, pass this one.
Yeah.
Like, don't. Not that it was bad, it wasn't offensive, you know, but like, I was just short of like, we done yet, guys? So.
Well, I think that's all we have about Pikachu. But I don't really have anything else about it. But that's
we're not gonna go an hour 44.
No, I don't think we can do a Pikachu Good Yay podcast or anything like that. But
good, I'm almost out of medicine.
All right. Well, hey, that's a good amount of topics to discuss. But this time we actually have some questions from our listeners. Do you want to pick the questions? You were kind of looking through these earlier.
I was kind of looking through them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I definitely want to. Let's answer this one real quick. Joshua Kendall Cascio, hope I'm saying that right, asked if we're excited about King of the Monsters next Friday.
Ooh, can I field this one?
Please do.
Nope.
No. I'm kind of excited. So, well, you know what I need to do still, though, which is silly, because I haven't seen the other Godzilla movie yet that came out 2 years ago or whatever, and I heard very mixed things about it. I know that there's not much Godzilla in it, which is always the big complaint, that there's not enough monsters in it. But, like, I like that this movie is about just a bunch of monsters fighting, so I hope that this movie has a bunch of monsters fighting. I don't really like how dark the movie looks as far as, like, the lighting goes, because it's so dark that, like, it's that kind of dark tone where you can't see anything, it feels like.
Let's see the monsters.
And I want to see the monsters. Yeah, I want to see them. Like, the Japanese original Godzilla movies, I know they were campy and goofy looking, but they were so bright and colorful, and you could see everything that was going on. And this feels so opposite of what a Godzilla movie feels like it should be. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm still going to see it.
I am willing to watch it.
Yeah.
I may like it. I didn't hate the last Godzilla movie, I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what that problem is. I keep watching this trailer, and they're setting it up as this giant blowout monster fight, except they're also peppering it with nonstop shots of all these actors who I really like that are going to ruin this movie. Because I'm not paying to see Vera Farmiga and the guy from Friday Night Lights. I'm paying to see Godzilla fight Mothra.
Right.
And I'm going to get way too much of the humans that don't need to be in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, like, you need a few minutes of character to transition scene to scene, maybe. But, like, I really like Aaron Taylor Johnson as an actor generally. But that first Godzilla movie, or 10th or whatever the heck, you know, the most recent one, the Americanized version there, is basically just following him around.
Yeah.
Doing nothing.
Yep.
For an hour and 40 minutes, and then you get 20 minutes of Godzilla.
Yeah.
And then you go home going, well, I guess that was a movie.
I guess that was a movie.
Yeah.
I'm interested because so we had all these cinematic universes try to kick off, right? And this is kind of one of those. And so, like, I was fully expecting to get announcement dates for Rodan and Mothra and Godzilla 2 and 3, you know what I mean, and another Island of Kong or Kong Isle or whatever it was, Skull Island, whatever the Kong movie was, and then for none of those movies to ever happen. So I'm a little glad that they were just like, nope, all in one movie. Here we go. Well, who do we have licenses for? They're all in this one.
And they're following this one up with Godzilla vs. Kong.
Right.
They've already announced it. Like, so he's going to fight all these monsters, then he's going to go fight King Kong in the next movie, which is, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah, so I'm in because they just, like, cash in all their chips and, okay, I'll give you guys a shot.
Yeah, for sure. There's two people here asked about Money in the Bank. Ram Jam and Justin both kind of asked about Money in the Bank. Typically after a WWE pay-per-view, we kind of talk about that, but I don't think any of us watched Money in the Bank.
Bro, I have not been able to muster the fortitude of will to watch wrestling since WrestleMania.
Since Mania. And, I wanted to watch Money in the Bank, but I was traveling all weekend, so I didn't get a chance to yet. And I was going to turn it on today. I didn't get a chance to yet. But
got all kinds of goofy stuff.
The networks, there's, the network isn't going to be available on a ton of platforms now. Like, they've dropped Xbox 360 and PS3 and a bunch of Samsung stuff. And I don't know. I have a current Galaxy phone, but I couldn't get on the network all day. Yeah. Like, it kept giving me a network error, and I don't know if that was because of whatever they're doing right now or what.
Well, I have an iPhone, and the network's supposed to keep working on the iPhone.
Yeah.
But their app is always bad.
Yeah.
I don't know how a company of their size has such a bad app.
Yeah.
I've got an LG Smart TV that... a couple of apps stopped working on, and I got mad at the apps immediately. But when I researched it, the operating system basically that TV works on, and that I think a lot of smart TVs worked on, that system is dying. Everything's switching over to more like Android-based stuff as it's produced now.
Yeah.
And so it's basically like the Betamax of operating systems. It's just sort of going away. And so it's one of those deals where, I mean, I can't be mad at apps not supporting dead platforms anymore. I would assume, I have no idea. I mean, I would think PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4 would use something pretty similar, but it's got to be different enough to where at some point they just stop supporting that. It's and as many years as it is in, I guess that's fine. It's one of those things where, like, it upsets me.
Yeah.
When I hear stuff like that.
Yep.
But, like, the logical part of my brain goes, is it? But then the fire part just keeps going, yes, it is upsetting. So I don't really know where I fall on stuff like that.
Yeah. But I thought it was funny because the WWE sent out that email today, and I don't know how you felt. You said you got it.
I got it too, yeah.
I don't know how you felt about it. It just felt like super catty to me because it was just kind of like, we want to keep bringing you guys the best system, but some people are going to stop updating it. So as of tomorrow, we're not going to be able to show you, your high programming. We just wanted to let you know before it happened that these people aren't. And I was just like, what am I reading here? What are you guys doing?
Totally sounds like Vince had that typed up.
So make sure they know it's not our fault.
So we didn't watch it, but of course we've heard the results.
Yeah.
So I guess we should talk about the one big result, right?
Yep.
The winner of the Money in the Bank match, the men's Money in the Bank match, was Brock Lesnar out of nowhere.
Brock Lesnar out of nowhere. I feel like that's a memo that Vince sends around.
Yeah.
Every 6 months.
Brock Lesnar out of nowhere?
Yeah. I've got it.
Yeah, super weird. I don't even know how I feel about it. Like, it's one of those things where at this point I'm just not even surprised. Like, it's like, well, of course Brock Lesnar won Money in the Bank. And of course he wasn't in that match. But just showed up and won it. Because WWE.
Because WWE.
I don't know. I don't even...
They just don't know what they're doing, man.
Do you think he's going to cash in and just straight take it from Kofi? And take the SmackDown belt?
Take the SmackDown belt? No, maybe.
They're going to Fox, bro. You think Vince wants to put Lesnar on Fox?
Every 6 months?
Every 6 months. Well, that's a good point. Good point. I don't know. I don't even know, man.
I can't.
I have nothing for this. I've seen everybody real mad about it. I'm not even blaming anybody for it. It's real weird when I saw that today. I'm just like, I feel like if I would have been watching that, I'd just been like, what?
Yeah.
What? Like, that would have been my reaction. Like,
I feel like the company is in decline and they just don't understand why.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of trying to figure out why, they're just throwing all these quick fixes instead of addressing like the crumbling foundation of professional wrestling. You know what I mean? Like of this business. Like, no, some things have to change. Like, there's a reason all this is in decline and you guys aren't doing things right. And it's not because Brock Lesnar is not on TV enough anymore.
Wrestling's cyclical, like almost anything. Major sports brands go through it. Entertainment mediums go through it. It's like the Saturday Night Live effect, you know. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's absolutely terrible. If you like it enough, you'll put up with both. I'm just in one of those phases right now where, like, I don't want to be the guy sitting there going, "Oh, wrestling ain't what it used to be. It'll never be good again," or any of that garbage. It will be at some point. And for some people, it probably is.
Yeah.
For me, it's not right now, and I don't have time to put up with the slope that it's on or whatever. So it's not like I've given up. I just don't have any, like you said, I don't have any urge to go.
Man.
I like Money in the Bank matches because they're mayhem. And so I knew this was Sunday and I wanted to watch it and then just completely forgot it was on. And that's just sort of where wrestling is right now on that level, you know?
And then Bailey won the women's Money in the Bank.
Correct.
And then later in the night, Charlotte beat Becky for the SmackDown women's title. And then Bailey cashed in and took the belt right off Charlotte. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny, too, because that just means Charlotte gets to add to her title and her numbers. Because now she's like...
Right. If anybody doesn't think that's what that was for.
Yeah.
People won't expect this, and then we can just have Charlotte win it right back. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Great.
totally. And I guess we should quickly mention, too, because this happened while... in between, over the last 2 weeks. It was announced that AEW, All Elite Wrestling, which we've talked about a little on here, got a TV deal with Turner Networks. It's going to be on TNT. And I thought the tweet that they put up was real interesting because TNT tweeted out, "We're back in the wrestling business," and put up this graphic that totally has like the Nitro Fire behind the AEW logo. And I was kind of like, wow, they're really steering into this, aren't they? They're like,
bad.
Yeah.
It's not a good.
It's not a good?
It's not a good. It's not a good sign, TNT.
You remember that thing we did right for a year?
Yeah. Right?
Did you guys see all that Ric Flair stuff? Like, he's fine, right?
Yeah, he's fine. He was going into surgery today as the time we're recording this. Yeah, Flair ended up in the hospital again. Which is,
But, like, it went from he's dead to he was supposed to be there and he's fine to no, he's dead to, well, like, he is there, but it's not that big of a deal. To he's just brain dead, not regular dead, just brain dead.
No, I think
his wife going, no, he's fine, everything's fine.
Yeah.
He's gonna make a full recovery, you know. And I'm like, well, like I've gone from everywhere to like this is a physical,
Right.
to he's been dead for an hour.
This is dead for an hour.
To, you know, like it's bad, but not that bad. Like just all over the board, and people kept texting me. Like, oh, did you hear what happened to Ric Flair? And I kept texting back, nothing happened to Ric Flair.
Yeah, there was a bunch of fake stories about the death. That's so crazy, man. The internet's nuts. All right, let's do one more question. You had one specific you wanted to answer, or is there a couple that you?
There was really only one more. We did one of those specific.
We still got an hour and 15 minutes of our Pikachu time to fill. So.
Yeah. Is that the one?
Oh, yeah. Charles Woods. Charles Wood asks, can't remember if you guys have done this question, but what is a movie you really enjoy but everyone else seems to hate?
Oh, gosh, I wish I'd... Okay,
so I'll go ahead and take
right?
the lead
You've got...
Mine pops right up every time every time it comes up. Because I absolutely love Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck, man. Like I love that movie. I loved it when I was a kid, and then like when I saw it later when they uncensored, because I saw it on Fox a lot, so like they cut out the scene where they have sex and you know what I mean, the couple adult jokes in there. I love that stuff too. I think that movie's great, man.
Somebody asked, I think it was Anthony Hernandez, one of his questions was asking if we would consider doing a Marvel Goodyear on Howard the Duck.
Man, I'm in. I'm in.
That's funny. That's funny. Do you have one, John?
I don't. It's weird to try to put a label on some of these things because, like, our friends like a lot of weird movies that I'm not sure if everybody else does. The first thing that popped into mind when I saw that question was Hudson Hawk. Because I know a lot of people who really like Hudson Hawk.
Yeah.
I don't know how the world feels about Hudson Hawk. I don't think they feel the same. But man, oh man, do I love Hudson Hawk. I could watch Hudson Hawk daily probably and enjoy myself. The singing, the cat burglary, the weird violence. I don't even know how else to describe it.
Guess you won't be attending that hat convention.
Yeah, that is such a bizarre little gem.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know if everybody else hates it or not, but I know I love it.
I love the Masters of the Universe 1987 movie that everybody hates.
Man, I hate that movie.
I love it. And I defend it a lot, except not in that way that I'm like, no, it's a really good movie, because I know it's not. But it's super nostalgic for me, and I still, when they get to that scene with the final battle with him and Skeletor, and Skeletor says, "Let this be our final battle." I'm like, yep, I'm in. I love it. Do it, He-Man. So yeah, I guess that's mine right there, because people still, like, all the time, they're like, well, it's got to at least be better than the 87 movie, and I don't feel that way about the new one. Yeah. I feel like there's a chance that it won't be better than that 87 movie in my mind.
Yeah.
Hey,
do people not like Willow?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen Willow in a long time.
I think they do.
Have you guys seen the Willow Goldbergs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, because I got fighting. I almost quit that show.
But I thought the joke about that was that it was fine, not great.
It just wasn't. It wasn't the next Star Wars.
Like they were expecting.
But that's
because it was a George Lucas movie. Yeah, that was like his whole thing.
But that's not. No, I almost fought that. I almost quit that movie, that show.
We should message Adam Goldberg right now and be like, "What's your beef with Willow, bro?"
I love Willow.
I will defend Superman Returns tooth and nail to my grave.
Superman Returns. You do defend Superman Returns a lot.
That movie is fantastic. It is very well made. It was the absolute perfect delivery for what they advertised, and everybody liked it fine when it came out. And then like a year later, it was like, it stinks.
Yeah,
it's not. It's amazing.
So while we're all confessing things, I'm really into X-Men Last Stand.
What? Stop.
Wow.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
The first Phoenix movie?
The first Phoenix movie, man. I'm into it.
Brett Ratner X-Men movie?
Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
Dude, the scene where she, spoiler alert, the scene where she kills Professor X. That's like I was on the edge of my seat, like that whole scene. I was just like, oh my, not really. And then man, that in-fight scene was like a precursor to Endgame. I mean, they stuck internet jokes in that thing. I mean, they stuck
the Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut. Yeah, I'm the Juggernaut. Like they stuck stuff in that movie, and I watched it. Like I remember watching it going, this is the movie I wanted. It's not good. But this is the movie I wanted.
Oh, man.
Do you remember when they killed Cyclops off screen?
Yeah.
Because Fox was mad at him for going to make the far superior Superman Returns. For the other company that's really on the same plane as far as making comic book movies go, I think.
I really like Worst-tastic 4. I'm just kidding. I hated that movie.
I still haven't seen that
Don't
one.
watch it. Just don't. That doesn't exist now. Okay, Disney's got that back. We just pretend like that didn't happen. Okay. Michael B. Jordan got to go be Killmonger instead, and that was way better. So we're all good here. Okay. We don't have to even talk about that one anymore.
Okay.
All right. Well,
that's a great question. That's a fun question.
That was a good question. Thank you guys very much. And if you guys have questions for us like that, that you want us to answer for future episodes, head on over to Facebook.com and do a search for the Geek Easy Podcast and hit that like button. Usually try to put up a post anytime we're getting ready to record asking for questions, but also feel free to post on there at any time. If you think about a question, throw it out there, and maybe we will grab it and answer it on the next episode of the show.
Or maybe we'll pay attention to our Facebook and answer it in the comments.
Maybe so. I got real excited the other day because somebody on our Facebook, and I should have already have this pulled up so that I can say who it was, but somebody on there had posted that they were getting ready to listen to the Avengers Endgame episode of Marvel Good Day for the third time now, and I was just like, yeah, you are. Yeah, so that's awesome. I'm glad people are enjoying that. In fact, somebody else asked when we were planning to do our second take on Avengers Endgame, because you mentioned you wanted to do that. But I feel like we gotta wait a little while.
Yeah, I mean that's like home video.
Yeah. When it comes out, maybe we can revisit.
Maybe when it hits Disney Plus.
When it hits Disney Plus.
There you go.
I was gonna say we could maybe tack it on to a special episode when we do when we review Far From Home.
There you go.
Well,
Far From Home.
Yeah.
As like a special. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
All right, guys. Well, hey, there are multiple ways that you can listen to and enjoy this show, as well as our spinoffs like Marvel Good Yay. The audio version is available on several platforms, including Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Google+, and Podbean. So download those apps, follow us, rate us, leave us reviews, all that good stuff. That way you can help spread the word on the show. If you prefer the video version, check us out on YouTube. Just do a search for the Geek Easy Podcast and hit that subscribe button. Also, like and comment on the videos. Get us in that algorithm. We would very much appreciate it. So lots of good ways you can listen to us. And I think that is going to put an end to this week's episode of the Geek Easy Podcast. So thank you guys very much for listening, for joining us. And until next time, my friends, geek on.
Geek on. Good job.
I just made that up right now.
Yeah.
I was really excited to see where you were going with that.
Sometimes I just start talking and I'm like, I gotta have an end to this, and I don't know where I'm gonna end with this.
Well, that's why
I gotta say something.
You said that, I was like, ooh, we get a new closing.
Yeah.
And we got Geek on.
The Geek Easy Podcast is a production of PixelDan.com. Musical tracks used in the intro and outro are used with full permission of the respective owners or creators. Intro and outro narrations are provided by me, Brian T. Stevenson. PixelDan.com's The Geek Easy Podcast is provided for entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those solely of the hosts or guests and do not necessarily represent those of PixelDan.com or any other party. Be sure to join us next time for another installment of the Geek Easy Podcast.